This worksheet shows all of the sales invoices for the entire year. Let's look at the data in more detail. The first column shows the type of document, an invoice or a return. The second column shows the invoice ID number. It must be unique. This is the date of the sale. This is the customer account number and name. These fields are the part number, description, and product line. This is the quantity sold and the unit price. Let's calculate the total sales with a formula, like we did with the bouquet example. Make a new field called sales value. Create a formula starting with an equals sign. It's the product of the quantity multiplied by the unit price, just like last time. That looks good. So I'll click on this cell and then double click on the handle right here to copy the values to the end of the data rows. But wait, let's look at these two rows down at the bottom. They're returns. Cowboy Printers didn't make any money on these invoices. They had to refund the amount to the customer. The values should be negative. So we really need two formulas in this column. If the document type is an invoice, then we use the existing formula. It's correct. If it's a return, the value should be negative. And we need the formula -1 times quantity times unit price. How can we put two formulas into one cell? Excel provides a function just for this purpose, the if function. Let's undo the last two steps and try it out. So I click on Edit Undo 2 times. Now Excel provides dozens and dozens of functions to make calculations. They're in this menu tab, Formulas. For the if function, click on the icon Logical and choose If. Excel returns a pop-up dialog box. The first box asks for the logical test, something to compare, which can be answered either true or false. In our case, the test is this: is the document type an invoice? So click on the cell for the document type, A2, and then type equals invoice. In the second box, tell Excel what to do if it's true, and we'd like to calculate the sales value as the product of the quantity in I2 times the unit price in J2. In the third box, we tell Excel what to do if the logical test is false, and we want to calculate -1 times quantity in I2 times the unit price in J2. And we click on OK. So far so good. Now let's change the document type to a return. And Excel calculates a negative value. It looks good. So let's undo our test before we forget. And double click on the handle and copy it all the way down to the end of the data rows. And check it out. At the bottom of the spreadsheet, we see the two negative values. It's working. Now let's copy the format from column J with unit price to column K for sales value to get the same format for the header row and the same format for the numbers. So I select the column, go to the Home ribbon, click on the Format Painter, click on column K. Now let's add the controls for sorting and filtering. This time we'll use the Excel function for tables, which also provides a totals row, so we won't have the problem with sorts and totals like in the last example. Click on any cell in the data, and then use Control A to select all of the data. From the Home ribbon, click on the icon Format as Table. Choose a layout you like. I like this one. Excel shows a pop-up box confirming the data range and confirming the data has headers, that is, titles on each column, which is correct, so click OK. Excel formats the data as a table and shows a new menu tab, Table Tools Design. Let's provide a name for the table. Let's call it Invoice Data. We can see that the cells in the header row have the pull-down control for sorting and filtering. You can see that here on the customer name. Now let's add a totals row. It's easy. Just click on this box here. The row appears at the end of the data and automatically sums the rightmost column, in our case, the column for total sales. For invoice data like this, the invoice ID must be unique. Occasionally, through some type of error, data files have duplicate records. The duplicates must be removed. To remove them, click on this icon, Remove Duplicates. Excel shows a pop-up asking which fields must be unique. In other words, what field do you use to find and remove the duplicates? In our case, it's the field Invoice ID. So I unselect all of the fields, choose Invoice ID, and choose OK. The pop-up says that 9 duplicate records were removed, and 498 unique values remain. Look at the invoice table again. It's missing a field for the customer region, and we need it so that we can report the sales by product line and by region, a very common requirement in business reporting. If we go to this worksheet in the file, we can see we have a customer cross-reference table. It lists the customer account number, the customer name, and their state or region. This cross-reference table is formatted as an Excel table with the name of customers. Essentially, we need to bring the state over into the invoice table as a new field called region. So let's create a new field to the right of customer name. So I click here, right-click, and choose Insert to insert a new field. Let's title it Region. And it works like this. Let's find the state for customer account number 106. So here's the customer account number 106. I go to the customer cross-reference table. I go down to find customer 106 in column A. I move to the third column, column C, to see that JS Automotive, customer number 106, is from Tennessee. I go back to the invoice table, and I type in Tennessee. We could continue this process manually, but it would take a long time and likely lead to several errors. Excel provides a function just for this purpose called VLOOKUP. Let's try it. From the menu tab Formulas, choose Lookup and Reference, and go to the bottom and choose VLOOKUP. Excel shows a pop-up. In the first box, Lookup Value, click on the customer account number, 106. The table array is the customer cross-reference table named Customers. For the column index number, enter 3, because in the cross-reference table, the state is in column 3. And click on OK. Excel returns Tennessee, and because this data is already formatted as a table, Excel automatically copies it down to the end of the data rows.